Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We'll go ahead and get started. It's right at 8:30, and I think we have a quorum present. I know we have rules and then an early morning on the House floor. Appreciate everybody coming out. Economic Development and Tourism Committee meeting. And I think we have one thing on the calendar today, and that is House Bill 470 by Representative Blackman. So, Representative Blackman, if you want to come forward and present your bill, we'd love to hear it, sir. Yeah, we're going to put you on the podium where everybody can see you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the committee, we bring before you House Bill 470, and this is a substitute, actually, number 0628S we'll be working off of. And I'm just going to go through a few little points here and answer some questions, Mr. Chairman, if that's okay. But I've talked to a number of you individually. What this would do, this would kind of address the $7 billion economic impact we have across the state, which is our military installations, and allow local communities to apply for grant dollars through the Department of Economic Development to target a very modest grant to target certain things within their community that would enhance the economic development of their military installation or their military community. I think it's probably important to note that this is a matching fund, and this actually does not appropriate any dollars. This just establishes a grant fund by which these local communities can enhance or protect their military installation in various ways. So we're competing with other states, and you know, I think this is something that we've seen in other areas. Our working group, having gone to all of, kind of visited with all our military installations, this was something that came up several times, and there are also different things that communities like to do, and this would allow those regions to address issues within their installation kind of on their own and in partnership with the Department of Economic Development and the Governor's Defense Initiative, I'm sorry.
Any questions? Go ahead. Representative Regstrom. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So does this help when we go through a BRAC process?
Very much intended to help with that.
It does help with
Yes, in preparation for, yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
It isn't showing up. None of them are showing up, I don't think. Wait a minute, okay. Try yourself now, Al. Try yours.
Anything? Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for bringing this bill. I just wanted to make a clarification. I know it was just an oversight. It's not $7 billion. It's just south of $21 billion impact.
Did I say 7?
You said 7. And is it not true that Fort Stewart is $5 billion of that alone? And reason being, the state does not allow out-of-state travel, so communities could use this grant for those of us would like to go and speak to Congress or whatever else would enhance our position as a #1 military site.
To my fellow committee member and co-sponsor, yes, sir, that is absolutely correct. I believe that totally to be true.
Representative Pruitt, did you have something?
The gentleman yield.
Yes, sir.
We had a conversation yesterday, and I appreciate you clarifying some things already, that this is not money that will be appropriated in the budget, but this is money that would come through a grant from economic development. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman.
Can you
That's the way it is designed.
Okay, what kind of grant do they have that would make this available, and where does that money come from?
This would establish that grant, and we're not appropriating any funds just yet, but it would allow economic development to invest along with monies from the local communities to target certain things that would enhance or improve kind of the military environment with respect to a BRAC or any kind of federal review.
One more question, please.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman.
I am a veteran, and I'm very concerned and work, as you know, we've worked together on some issues in Warner Robins, and I appreciate what you've done too. But one of the things that I always ask myself is, do I have the authority to reach into my 85-year-old mother-in-law's pocket and take her money and give it to someone? And I made that clear to you yesterday, and that I did not want it to be something that I could support if it was money taken from the taxpayers by actually putting it in the budget. Now, that being said, I still don't really understand where the money would come from. I know that economic development, they have a pool of money. Would it come from the pool of money that we actually put in the budget, or is it? I'm just not clear.
I think you would find that it would have to be directed as such, and it's always going to be taxpayer dollars. But whenever I personally look at where we invest taxpayer dollars, we look at the return on that investment. And our military installations across this state provide an economic boom for many communities, and I think the state as a whole. And that is the intent of this grant fund, would be to further enhance that as well, whether you're bringing in new missions or whether you're supporting the active duty military that are already on that installation, such that BRAC would see that favorably in a federal review.
Well, you made a great point, and they very much would. And we got a great community support around Warner Robins Air Force Base that have been working, with BRAC for many years. Is in this bill, one last question, in this bill, is it mandated that it'll be a 50-50 match, or regardless of how much they use, or is there a limit?
Matching language is in this bill. It would require a local match.
And I apologize, have not read the bill.
Well, it's a new substitute. We just had it available this morning, so thank you, Mr. Chairman, for your questions.
Well, thank you. I think it's a great idea.
Thank you.
Representative Caldwell, did you have something?
Representative, thank you for the bill, and thank you for your hard work on this. I appreciate you making sure we keep our military jobs here. I actually think the whole United States military should be located in Georgia, but I appreciate your hard work toward it. Just a quick, maybe a dumb question. I know I keep hearing you say the grants are for programs or projects to help enhance our base communities. Can you give me an example of what kinds of projects we're talking about? I mean, just a real world.
I think one of the examples that we saw as we were traveling the state is that you might find one of our installations or our communities want to look at encroachment, and so they might want to do a study on that. And if they want to put up $45,000, $50,000, a very modest amount, we might be able to match at the state level to go in and do that. And what it would, obviously do is that would help them plan and better prepare for a future BRAC.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Representative.
Representative Dukes, do you have something?
Yes, thank you. First of all, I want to thank the author for bringing this bill. I used to serve on the Economic Development Commission in my community. Excuse me. And a lot of times we thought we were going at it all along to have resources to work with the BRAC Commission and trying to keep our installations here. But you mentioned some of it will not just be limited. Is it not true that you're saying that these funds will simply not just be limited to the protection of our community against BRAC?
Well, there's a list of suggestions here. Now, the department would be able to set up some rules and regs, but there are a list of things that would narrow the focus to the military community, the military installation, and the economic viability of that installation.
If it is possible, could you kind of share that with us, what those lists are?
Would you like me to read it?
That would be great.
Mr. Representative, I'd be happy to.
Sorry, we just got this morning and didn't have a chance.
If you look at line 45 through 53, the amount of any grant award pursuant to this code section shall be determined by the department on a case-by-case review of applications consistent with criteria to be prescribed by the department, which shall include but not be limited to a consideration of the grant goal being proposed and to the extent which it furthers the relationship between the military community and the military installation, furthers the military installation's economic development, investment into the military community, or assist in efforts to defend the viability of the military installation from a federal review.
Thank you. And listen, thanks again. I want to thank you again for bringing this legislation.
Thank you very much. And I wish I could say I. This is a we thing. I really believe this is something that is badly needed, and I think we did this as a very much a team.
Thank you. And Mr. Chairman, at the proper time, I'd like to be recognized for a motion.
Thank you, sir. I think we have one more question. Representative Gravely, did you have something? No, sir. Oh, all right. Somebody has been going around pushing buttons here, so that's where we are. Any other discussions or questions? I do want to point out that this is a substitute. We're working off of LC 43062-8S, and so, Representative, the motion would be made to accept the substitute.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move that our committee move to accept the substitute presented by Representative Blackman.
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. Second. Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, at this point, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Like sign. The ayes have it. Mr. Blackman, you have your bill. You can go to rules.